Hello and welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And yeah, we're doing more what we've learned from pre-season videos. Um, and yeah, this will probably be not the last one. We'll do another one next week as well. Maybe if we learn anything new from the the Celta Vigo game. I keep saying Real Betis for some reason. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you are new. The social medias are GVO Mics on all platforms. So that's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as well. And we are around 70 away from 500 subscribers. So as soon as you want to make that happen, that'll be great. Also, if you want to join the FPL League, go to the community page and click the link. So Fancy Premier League, feel free to join because we've got 4 people in already. So yeah, come and join the Mike's community. Get your FPL teams in, and we'll see who wins in the end. Sorry if you can hear noise. That's my neighbors. And also, sorry if you can hear steaming noise. That is my Mac, because recording videos in this heat is not it. But we're going to get into some points of what I took from yesterday's game, mainly from points. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have already seen these. But I'm going to talk more in detail about the West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 3 game. Awful coverage / stop and start game is going to be my first point. I want to get this point out of the way because this is mainly the reason why it wasn't enjoyable to watch. Now, I was having really trouble trying to enjoy the game on the watch along yesterday, and it was mainly because, first of all, the coverage was shit. Apparently, the commentators were shit. I didn't even have the commentary on, but it was mainly because of the fact that the replays took so long to stop. They were pretty much replaying the whole section of what was happening. You usually see one bit when it comes to replays, but we're seeing a lot of the whole replay. We're seeing more replays than we were of the actual game at times, because they were just cut off, and then you'll see the other team have the ball, and you'll be like, well, we didn't even get to see the other, like, how we lost the ball, or how the play progressed then as well. So that was awful. And also the stop and start game, the amount of times Palace players just fell to the floor and the ref just blew it. It was just, I don't complain about refs in Premier League games and like competitive games, but this is pre-season, man. You kind of just want to get your foot on the ball and see your team play a bit, but that couldn't happen, not only because of the lineup that we put out, but also because of the general circumstances that the game happened in. We need to stop doing these games in America as well. I think they've learned from this season to not do any more games in America for the time being, just because the fucking games didn't even sell out. There was barely anyone there, for God's sakes. Let's go on to maybe what the match and analysis of the players, etc. The centre backs passing. Now, obviously, in the first half, it was a variation of a 3 at the back / 4 at the back, 4-3-3 / 5 at times, and Cresswell would jump in the back 3 in possession rather than out of possession, and Kilman and Mavropanos started. Don't think Kilman was as bad as people said on Twitter. It's just Wolves fans running their agenda and stuff, and for some reason West Ham fans being very reactionary. Don't get me wrong, I do think we need a centre back, but we're not going to get one unless either Ged or Zuma go. We do need, if we're going to sign a centre back, it has to be better than both Kilman and Mavropanos to raise the level of what we're trying to do. Obviously, it's going to be very unrealistic to get a Todibo level centre back. However, we need to try our best just to attract players of that level. And when it comes to the centre backs passing, my main problem was when it changed into the second half. And when it changed to Kilman again and Mavropanos, which will coincide with one of my other points as well in a minute. A lot of times when we get pressed, and this was mainly because there was very man-to-man stuff because they play a 3 at the back, and when we matched to a 3, everything was man-to-man in the end. A lot of the players that we were playing, especially under possession, were just longing it out, especially the goalkeeper. Obviously, Fabianski cannot pass a ball. Long pass, short pass, he cannot do it. And when it comes to the 3 centre-backs, you're meant to just try and play through, like be a bit more brave, but they kept long balling it for no reason, which again kept doing last season as well. I thought it was mainly because of instruction. If this is also because of instruction, that is very annoying, and I don't want to see that. I want to see us pass much shorter. That's the whole reason why we brought this manager in. So I'm not trying to see that for the time being, but hopefully when we play it back forward, it's just Kilman and Mavropanos. We won't need to see that again. I'm not trying to see any meaty lineups, if I'm being completely honest. But at the end of the day, it's just pre-season. I will take it with a pinch of salt. And when it comes to the lineups and stuff, yesterday was because of the fact that the players played in a pre-season friendly already. So some of them played behind closed doors against, I think it was the Palace youth team, and we won 3-0 due to Cornet, Ings, and Bowen, Orford, and I think it was Orford, and I can't remember who else played in midfield. But with the centre back passing, it was just awful to watch. Like, that was my main problem with them. like again, especially. Mavropanos was at least trying to play the ball short the most. Kilman didn't really get the ball as much. But when it comes to Mavropanos, he wanted the midfielders to come and receive the ball, and Ward-Prowse and Souček weren't doing good enough when it came to coming to receive the ball. They aren't natural sixes, don't get me wrong, but yeah, they weren't great either. But that's why I'm going to get onto this point, because it coincides to my point already of the three at the back shouldn't take place. We look really bad with three at the back whenever we've played in pre-season. But my thing is that we will only go to three at the back at certain times. I don't believe we should ever start with three at the back. Now, with the attacking talent that we have compared to the defensive talent that we have, it's best to get the best out of the attackers that we have. I don't want what I'm slightly worried about, guys. I am slightly worried about this. Is I believe this manager doesn't like Emerson in the back four. That's what I'm slightly worried about. If he's going to play back four, I have a feeling that he's still going to start Cresswell, which is going to piss me off. But I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But I just have this weird feeling that Emerson won't start in the back four. I know Emerson's a very attacking left back, but that's kind of the point of the fucking system. So that will be a red flag for me if Cresswell starts over Emerson, given how bad Cresswell has been this preseason, how useless he's been, and quite predictably how useless he is. But when it came to the three at the back, it was terrible. When we split, there was a point where a Ged came on for Freddie Potts, and at half time, Emerson was playing in the front three of the attack, and Cresswell was playing wing back, and it looked awful. And I believe it's just because of personnel reasons. The fact that we didn't have the right personnel, we didn't have enough attackers. We only had Guilherme and Earthy that could really bring on that would actually play a part in the first team. Callum Marshall isn't going to play a part. You're going to see a lot more loan moves in the next week, from what I believe. But yeah, I'm hoping we don't ever see three at the back because we look terrible with it. And also, if we're talking off the ball as well, it drags the centre backs out to 1v1 situations way too much. And that's my main problem with someone like a Kilman again and Mavropanos, where I don't think any of them are good enough in defending down the channels, if I'm being completely honest. But let's get on to the other points. Yeah, this one, mainly negative points are be real. They are mainly negative points, but with the lineup that we saw, like it is what it is. The Czech boys again. The reason why I've done this again. Now, if you were watching with me on the watch along, you would have known I gave credit to Thomas Souček a lot for the off the ball work that he was doing. There was a lot of great tackles, a lot of great interceptions, and great blocks, and winning. And he did once there was a situation where he won the ball, did it well, very high up the pitch and stuff. When we were pressing them off the ball, and Antonio did well, and he ran out of steam as well. The Souček followed through, and he won the ball high up the pitch. It was very aggressive. It was actually very good. We didn't actually really see him on the ball as much until it got to the third goal of the game. So when we went 3-1 down, Thomas Souček was obviously awful on the ball. I don't think I need to say this anymore, really. When it comes to Thomas Souček, it's just basic. It's legit basic stuff, guys. I'm not even trying to go at him for the sake of it. It's like passing the ball to your player right next to you. Now, yes, the system obviously gets more out of that, but with this Rodriguez guy, you'd hope that he's more of an upgrade when it comes to just distributing the ball. And I'm talking the basic stuff. I'm talking passing to your teammate. I'm not talking about anything intricate. So I hope to see only Guido Rodriguez, Freddie Potts, and Paquetá in those positions next to Alvarez, because even Ward-Prowse didn't really impress me at all in that game, to be completely honest with you. He wasn't good enough either. Yes, Ward-Prowse and Souček don't work well together, so there is that. And Alvarez and Guido Rodriguez will help the balance. But sorry, look, like I will give Ward-Prowse more of a chance because I want to see more of him. He's only had one season at West Ham United, but there's no excuses this season. I'm ruthless with any player. However, with Thomas Souček, we've seen enough. We know he doesn't have a future. I don't think it's a coincidence that there's rumours of him going to Fenerbahce, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think any of those are really concrete. We've seen him linked to Galatasaray before. But the sooner he goes, the better. I don't think he wants to leave, but I think he's going to realise later in the season that he's not wanted. I'm sorry. Listen, seems like a nice guy and all of that stuff, but a lot of the praise that I see for Souček, all his attributes are very off the ball stuff. Like he's not bad at defending, but he's so immobile, can't defend mobile players, covers space okay, but I'm sorry, just not good enough. And let me get on to Vladimir Sufal, because I said Czech boys. Vladimir Sufal was 10 times worse if not 100 times worse than Thomas Suchek. Vladimir Sufal was the worst player on the pitch by far. Washed. Severely washed. We need to get this Wan-Bissaka deal done immediately. I don't want to see Sufal against Aston Villa. I don't care if we get Wan-Bissaka done next week, as long as he's done. As long as he's done, you sign him, you put him straight in the starting lineup. Sufal cannot control the ball. He cannot bring the ball down, cannot pass the ball to the teammate. He's even worse. I'd argue he's even worse than Thomas Suchek when it comes to passing a ball 5 yards. Neither of them, I don't know what they coach in the Czech Republic, but that's probably why you never see the Czech Republic team keep the ball, because they can't. He did it in the Euros as well. I saw Sufal do this in the Euros where he just knocked it long for no reason. So it wasn't just David Moyes' football, but that made it 10 times worse. It's just genuinely how Vladimir Sufal works. And I'm sorry, it just wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. It's just basic stuff. It's basic stuff. I say this all the time. Like, if you're Mohamed Kudus, you're Guilherme, you're Jared Bowen, you're Somerville, whoever is playing down the right-hand side, and whoever it will be, you're going to be pissed off playing alongside him. There was times where he was playing slightly inverted at certain moments of the game. And he just was passing the ball off the pitch. There was a point that, by the way, this is what really pissed me off. I wasn't pissed off all game, like with the players or anything, apart from this moment, where he's dribbling. He's not under pressure, but he takes a big touch by just dribbling, and then he loses the ball. So if you want to play up through a press, you've got to have players that have got tight control. Wan-Bissaka's got way better control than Vladimir Sufal. It's going to be one of the biggest upgrades you'll see. And this is coming from a guy Wan-Bissaka wasn't even my first choice, but he's way better than what we have. And way better than what we had as well. Okay, let me get on to the last 2 points. Youth players got more technical ability. Now, the reason why I say this is because whenever you see a Guilherme, a George Urphy, a Freddie Potts, a Lewis Orford, an Andy Irving, even though he isn't young, but he's a fringe player, a Kaelan Casey, a Gideon Kadoa, Ollie Scholes, all of these players have got the basic fundamentals of the game. Now, not all of them will make it to the first team, don't get me wrong. But all of them have got more basic fundamentals of how to control the football than, for example, the Czech boys. Like, they're keeping play ticking. I've noticed this in the Wolves and Crystal Palace game. When we went back to a back four and George Urphy came on, Callum Marshall, Guilherme came on, the ball was moving about very well. And that's because of them lot. Because they know how to link up with people, and they know just how to move the ball quick and keep it simple. They don't have the final third quality, and maybe the physicality, but they can keep it ticking. They suit the system more than some of the senior players do, and they're more mobile as well. So that was just the thing that I noticed, and it's kind of like if you're one of the senior players and you're looking at that, and these guys are outshining you. And some of the highest levels that these guys have played are in the Championship or League One. You got to have a look at yourself. Yes, it's all to do with coaching as well, because you're kind of molded into this player already. You can't really change. You can't polish a turd when they're 28, unfortunately for them. But again, basic stuff. It's doing the basics really well. That is it. Like, the system is not that difficult to figure out in terms of how to play in it. If you're a youth player, they've taken it by the horns and grasped the gains by the scruff of the neck, and just been in moments to take the gains and in their own tempo. And they're doing it better than some of the senior players. Ridiculous. It's actually more of an insult. It's actually more of a negative due to the fact that we spent money on some of these players. We spent money on a few of these like senior players already, and none of them can control the ball like the youth players. But yeah, that's my take on that. Kudus on the left needs to stop. I'm actually already sick of seeing it in pre-season, and I don't want to see it in the main season now. People have already asked me about the lineups and stuff. I would play Paquetá deeper and Kudus in front of him in a 4-2-3-1/4-3-3-ish, and we need to, because Alvarez will be there. And if not, it'll be Alvarez, Rodriguez, then Kudus in front. I would play Kudus over Paquetá. I don't think either of them. I don't want to see either of them off the left. Either they both play, and they both play in the middle, or one of them holds bench. That is it. I'm not trying to see Kudus on the left. Unless he builds a connection with Emerson, you're not going to get the best out of him. You're not going to see Mohamed Kudus at his prime when he's playing off the left. He's not good enough on the left. He's a right-sided player or a man who can play the 10. So he's either going to battle it out with Paquetá or Jared Bowen, or Paquetá and Bowen will play in their positions as well, and he'll be there. We need to start Somerville on the left straight away. And it's not just because he's a new signing, it's because he starts for us. He's a right-footed player that cuts in and is quick. Either that or you start Guilherme, and we just have the left-footers. Either way, Fulkirk will get the best out of the wingers when he comes in as well, bringing the ball down and letting the wingers run in behind and stuff like that as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to those signings making a difference. That's the thing with. And let me just start with this now. I'm just criticizing what I'm seeing. I'm not panicking over the season. I'm not saying we're fucked. I'm not saying anything like that. The reason why I'm taking all of this into context is because I'm just watching football with my eyes. What I'm going to say about this as well, I don't care about preseason results unless you see a performance. The reason why I'm criticizing this is mainly because of the performance, not because of the goals. Because two of the goals, Vladimir Sufal should have done better with the first goal. And the third goal, I can't remember the third goal. I just remember it was, Kilman should have done better for that, in my opinion. But also the midfield, and people did point this out to me, the midfield did put the defence under a lot of pressure. Again, just kicked it into the defender because he's not got any composure whatsoever. And Max Kilman got done out by Odson Edouard. I don't think that situation will happen within the Premier League, though. So, whatever. However, you guys got to remember as well. The starting lineup was literally Fabianski in goal, Sufal, Mavropanos, Kilman, Cresswell, Emerson, Potts, Ward-Prowse, Souček, Kudus, and Antonio. Emerson was playing front three, but you know what I mean. Out of all those players, Emerson and Kudus, Mavropanos, and Kilman are starting. The rest of them probably won't start in this team. So you've got Crescencio Somerville coming in. You've got Nicholas Fulkirk coming in. You've got Guido Rodriguez coming in as well. You've got Wan-Bissaka potentially coming in. And you've got Jared Bowen coming in from international duty. You've got Areola. You've got Edson Alvarez. We've got players to come in. So this is going to make the team a lot better. You've got Lucas Paquetá to come in as well. And I think we're set up where we've got a good 14 players, in my opinion. And you never know, maybe some squad players can step up for a game or two, but I believe we've got a good set of 14 players. But listen, that is it from me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, and we'll have a chat and stuff like that. Thought I'd keep it to a video today. Check out the Premier League countdown video on Ipswich Town as well. Go on the Back of the Net podcast YouTube channel where we talk about West Ham finishing top 4 as well. Go on the community page and join the FPL League as well. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new. The social medias are in the description if you want to follow me. GVO Max on all platforms, and the email for the inquiries. Well, I'll try to hit 500 subscribers before the end of the year, and I'll see you guys later.